It is September 22nd, 2018, 1:56 a.m. It's been within the last 3 minutes. I was watching the Weather Channel. It was working for quite a bit sometime. Abnormal for the Weather Channel in this house. It's like something's wrong with watching the Weather Channel. Has been that way for a long time. Year and a half, maybe 2 years. Same box, I guess. Anyhow, I went to switch over to DVR, and because the Weather Channel, the volume went out. Like, I thought it was all messed up again, the white flashes and stuff like that. I went to put in the DVR mode, and I went to play the DVR, and the video on the DVR, the audio from that did not work. And I was like, what's up with that? So I don't know if the box itself is bad or whatever. But the weird thing is, I didn't want to do it that way. I was trying to switch over to another input, like Xbox. Trying to analyze the TV, if it was the TV or the cable box, which I still think is the cable box to a point, except where I hit the off button on the TV, turned the TV off. By the time I turned it on, the audio started working. So it was kind of strange that the cable box was not turned off, still playing the same DVR video of Gold Rush, but the audio came back. And I rewound it just for the heck of it to see if it was the DVR video itself. It wasn't. So something is intentionally jamming the electronics in this house, everything. And they keep utilizing low-tone voices. Besides being directly outside, they're utilizing electronic devices for that. Something similar, I'd have to say, like LRAD. Being able to taunt, intimidate, and everything else. So with that being said, threatening of burning up my electronics, altering data theft, and all the rest, the type of shit that they pulled out in Baltimore, that itself was a bunch of blacks. It wasn't a part of, it was like as if they cut off from the rest of the organizational stuff that was going on and was dominating it intentionally without it being associated with a mix-up type of job of you don't know how to understand to make a complaint or to make a proper accusation because it's all mixed up. There's plenty of people doing it. No, they took it upon themselves to stand out, to subject me to no life. And somebody else came in and proved to me that they was stealing the data off my devices. It was jamming my device. They dubbed over audio and put it back onto the device. And I just came out of Washington, D.C. also. They do not want me making public proof of what they're doing. They dubbed over their asinine mouth running and all the rest of the low-tone shit that was going on and kept everything else. Which could have also made me look bad because, hey, if which was computer animated, something high-tech professional when it was done, where you can hear me complaining, but there's nothing around to complain about. But the weird thing is the person that showed me basically and, proved that these files were alterated had the old files themselves and re-put the old files wirelessly, electronically right back onto a Sansa player and then had me re-listen to that. Do I trust that person? Yes, because there was other files. Music list kept getting all mixed up and all that. Somebody came, and the same person, but they came multitudes of times and replaced basically like firmware settings and all the rest of the shit. And they had to have been out there along with the others because they had sort of current information. They also had to have been sort of in Washington, D.C. with me maybe, for the fact that the DC files, I do believe, were not corrupt. They might have been, and maybe that was one of the eerie things that could not be reserved, saved, or understood that, how to analyze. They couldn't be analyzed because there wasn't an original file to analyze with. There was some data loss, which is also data theft, but dubbing over a file and putting it back isn't just data theft, that's outright trying to cover up crap. a bunch of black individuals, huge group of black individuals, and it's unassociated from the Baltimore situation of that huge black biker situation and the motorcycles. It was completely somebody else that had stalked, followed, targeted all the way into Baltimore. So I'm dealing with a lot of life-threatening situations on top and intimidation just by them telling me black domination. It's time to end that shit, but I will say this, there is a whole bigger range to a certain point, it's hard to explain right now, of organized targeting. Whites, blacks, Mexicans, they're all in on the same thing. They all converse to each other. It's like a DEA profiling information that I got years ago and can't find it again, of exactly what kind of organized criminal architectural, what am I trying to word, structure that goes on, that they utilize these tactics. That way the person can't make a clear complaint, can't make clear conception sometimes of who's bothering them, because when it comes down to not being racist, but say groups of people doing it, especially with inside the same collar of each other, making out as if it might be racist and taking turns at it, it makes it difficult to say, well, this person was doing it and these people were doing it, without saying they're, and on top understanding they both are conversing together on that. Also having piss poor police work and whatnot, trying to always make the question, are you stable, or do you know what you're talking about? Well, you got DEA, guarantee you get into the top ranks, if even that, and they'll be able to explain exactly what I just said. I'm going to be 1,000,000,000% positive of that. I'm going to leave Columbus, Ohio and go back to New York City, New York, even though there is electronic interference out there. Same thing with the Sansa player. The weird thing was, it was not blacks. It was the white people from southern Staten Island, and somebody socially dissing me. I took and I had to put up with that shit from 2009, 10, 11, and then I didn't go back for a couple of years, but 2015, somebody represented the situation that happened in 2009 and 10 of it's not just hard intimidation and showing force of power, but a fucking federal crime, like type of situation. A maritime crime was one of them, because they was doing it on a ferry boat. FCC violations, while they was standing out like, you better obey us and all the rest. So it wasn't being racist to saying these blacks, because these blacks, though, with the mind state, yes, they still are being racist themselves to a point and targeting me with black power, but, I'm not being racist at just saying, ooh, these damn people like that, because there's multitudes of people itself that's orchestrated, and they orchestrate amongst each other. They may be enemies to each other and would still be in conversation with each other, causing me to be a prime target. Anyways, ending this video, I did notice a little graininess in the TV. It cleared right up after I turned the TV off back on, usually jamming electronic interference of some sort with that. The audio should not have went out, but it did. I'm going to take the DVR box and the cable modem back in to see if they can't replace it and get me something better. I need to call that in. The DVR box has been, or the cable box has been acting up for a year. But anyways, the Weather Channel was one of the reasons why I'm like, strange. That shit's went on for a year and a half, 2 years, and occasionally even before that. Something about like maybe Outkast, the rap group, associations with other ties, Colorado Springs. I'll explain that later, but anyhow, the song that says something that you can't predict the weather. They're utilizing that as an intimidated tone and force of Sorry Miss Jackson, which was a related situation with an ex-chief of police here, I believe it was, Jackson, and just belittling, mixing things up and causing problems with it. But I'll turn the lights out, shut the power off. I got the power to do that. That's the intimidation tone that they keep utilizing. I'm the power. What you gonna do, bitch? Well, let me see. I'm gonna catch somebody's finger on the wrong button that is doing this, and I'm going to end up probably killing them. Reason for fact that I'm saying that with ballsy type of situation, my ass, is because I've already talked to mental health counselors and some authorities and all the rest. And what these people are doing isn't just a little bit of mental damaging type of shit. Now they're threatening life. And with that threat, I should have the right to go ahead and stand ground. They're not physically threatening it, they're socially, lifely threatening it. It's not going to take the physical life completely away. It could occur that way from heart attack, stroke, stress, and all the rest. But as far as mental life itself, trying to outright tell me I don't have a rights to life, I was told I had the same rights to stand up to that shit as if it's life-threatening and protect myself no matter what. Anyways, a lot of law enforcement trying to act like they're involved. The law enforcement that is involved, which was already caught elsewhere, can be understood. Corruption, wrong misconduction because they misunderstood. That's not my fault, that's your problem. Your misconduction is a part of your job. You should have understood something. It's not my job to help you do your job, or else I'd be getting paid for it. Anyways, with that also, association. Not even misconduct, oops, accident, or straight up being persuaded, but literally associated, being affiliated by the organized crime group, which was also being understood in Tucson, Arizona. I spread the word here and there because I didn't talk about it much. And when I erect that shit to the right people, they start snapping to and understanding, oh fuck. I'm sorry about the foul language, but that's how harsh that is. Same thing with Colorado Springs, Colorado, and also being intimidated that I'm snitching, narking on a system that's attacking me. You don't have enough mind not to frickin' attack me to the point I have to go say something against you while you're saying shit against me and I ought to take it. No. Anyways, it getting into that type of corruption of where I had to feel endangered because of the action of what is supposed to have been protective law enforcement, authoritative government agents. Weird situation with all this being said, who to point the finger at, because a lot of this would be government class devices being used. You need a government class license to use it, which you can't usually get those licenses unless you're high-tech military with a contract, and the reason why. FBI, same way, you still have to be an FBI agent, but you would also have to have a reason and a cause why, all the rest. But what I was going to say is the reason why I'm saying this is there's something that came across the TV in 2013. I recorded it. I can't find the file right now. It should be on OneDrive. It also should be on a couple of hard drives that I do have. But it's where General Hayden of the National Security Committee and all that stuff met up, and they produced, when they was being talked about eavesdropping and all this electronic shit and misuse or even overpowering, that the black market is selling these products and the terrorists are doing more damage than what the dang agencies are, or even our country. People who don't have a legitimate license, a person that doesn't have to record, log back, report back to nobody. They understand how the device works, and they misutilize it at their own situation without having to worry about it being sold on the black market. Which one of these guys are acting pimp, even though the cops would have to pick up on it. It's getting into such a hard situation because I've been told almost no ability for these guys to be able to utilize that stuff every day, like you're saying, without somebody already picking up on it. With that being said, then that means either there is misconduction within the police department and me being attacked again here in Columbus, Ohio, or something's up. But anyhow, it should work out. These people should not be able to have use that electronic so much and other people not recognize it. Cell phone bars flashing up and down on every cell phone that I have. You can't have 3 cell phones and the bars be flashing up and down at the same time, you'd think. Even if that's not the case, even one singular literally out the cell phone itself and only one doing it, no matter what. Excuses in the way of trying to produce truth, trying to produce the accusation. I get into the electronic jamming stuff because some of it has been interfered physically. You don't need electronic when you're utilizing the electronic, aiming it like a weapon. There is tree things that shocks trees, and it kills the trees because it kills some type of energy in the tree, the roots, the nerve system of the tree. If it hits a human being, it can cause like blood cancer. I read this years ago and also started getting into it. Fire marshal's office had some type of report on that on their website, or somehow linked to like a fire marshal situation. But being hit by that as a human, it can do bone damage, shit like that, blood disorders, and all kinds of different things. These guys are out here laughing and snickering and getting away with it, on top trying to act like they're producing themselves as being a part of national security or the government or whatever else, utilizing the power against me like I'm a terrorist, and trying to basically empower themselves of wealth, of access to authoritative situations and authoritative access to devices, or whatever it comes tooling, and the access to the authoritative accessibility, the privilege, and they're wealthing themselves illegally on that. So getting more off of just electronic jamming, microwaves per se, radio waves, LRAD being utilized a lot, low tone voices, and like you're a schizo then. Well, I already did a test in 2 different places and it worked out 100%. One of them was New York City. I'm not saying it's free and clean up there. The point is the test situation worked out perfectly, and other people could observe that situation. There was other witnesses that don't even know me that stopped an individual by utilizing an electronic device that was producing a tone and a voice on a subway train, trying to basically direct and aim it at me, to the point it was causing me agitation. And it accidentally hit somebody else, and they're like, screw this shit, dude. You people are in here causing everybody else to believe something that's either not true or persuading them, and the whole thing, it was quick blow up. But on top of that, you're utilizing an electronic device, the way that it's being used, messing with his head, and then next thing you know, what is it? He gets agitated and you act like he's a nut job, or, dang, that's socially wrong. So there's a lot of that type of organized stalking. I've been a part of that shit for too many years. And I can't say years, I'll say decades. There is proof and truth. Go back to I was part of the situation and discussion, 2000 and I believe 7 or 6, and even 8 it might have came out as. Cell phone jamming, New York City, New York, unlawfully, illegally, and groups and hordes of people having cell phone jammers, till they banned them, walking around jamming people's cell phones to the point they couldn't make phone calls. But for myself, the phone became dysfunctional or something happened informational wise. It's a little bit different, but no matter what, that situation's there. If you look at the year that report was made, cell phone jamming, New York City, ban investigation, it should be like 2007, 8. It may have been in 2006, but I think it was after that. And then you can put my timepiece together. What year is it now? 2018. You go back all the way to 2006. That's 10 to 12 years. Put it that way. And that's not a big situation. It's just showing, hey, the force and the power that I'm coming up with. I'm not plagiarizing, making up, frantically thinking without knowing positively that it's happening, making a false accusation or not a strong accusation without foundation to the situation. There's been multitudes of other electronic jamming going on around me as I was traveling around the country, and there's other states that handle electronic detection differently, and they brought out devices inside the police car, inside the trunk, or within the car itself, and detected that there was radio waves around me, jamming frequencies and things that was trying to interfere, not just my personal self. It wasn't particularly said, even though there was abnormal other waves and sensations there happening, but the other ones were detected for jamming a cell phone and a music player type of situation. So, yeah, I'm gonna end the video on that. This is the time. I live in the west side bottoms of Columbus, Ohio. Right there where they're trying to make it out the nice, new, clean art district, while there's everybody that's dealing with the arts district as if they're an authoritative figure to it, associated or trying to create the foundation for it. Heroin freaking dealing, heroin acts, and utilization of the drug itself and everything else. I'm going to direct a lot just directly at heroin. So, who knows, maybe the United States hub of heroin distribution is being ran through a government community situation going on of artwork, you know, ho ho ho, you know, oh, just laugh it off, doesn't mean shit, crap, excuse me. Anyways, so yeah, oh, where's the money for these people to be getting and obtaining these devices? Well, let's see, did you steal artwork to sell artwork? The crummy ass crap that you're a part of and the corruption, much less, who knows, how much heroin are you importing, exporting, and much less utilizing, throwing parties and all the rest, more than likely fucking admissions to those parties, making the money. So you're telling me, you know, there's no money? There's money just in the aspect of having drug-related stuff on the inside of community relations that relate back into citywide stuff, that relates back into international stuff too, because you're dealing with artwork, arts, and whatever else. And the whole community, I mean mass, blocks, and blocks of art community stuff moving in an association to the art community. That's what they're calling it, kind of. The art community. Business after business, this, that, those, the others. You're building a futuristic foundation that's already been broken. Ending this video, hopefully it can be watched. Mine's more like nagging complaint. I hope, you know, with some of the stuff that I talk about, helps out other people. Somebody else also maybe, you know, looks up things and like, hey, I'm having the same problem he is, but don't know how to deal with it. I won't say help out, but I can tell you what I've been through and relate some stories. I'm not very healthy. I'm not very sociable any longer. That's some of the situation, like the creation of PSTD. I may have gotten the letters wrong on that, but anyhow, PSTD can be caused by dramatic trauma, mental damage. I've talked to counselors about this. I've talked to psychologists, therapists, and any other type of depth of psychologist. And yes, in a hardcore mental situation, PTSD can be caused by the duress of somebody intimidating, attacking, stalking, that type of oriented situation. Anyways, so that the cause and effect, you can tell that I've been affected. Put it this way, Cuba, the situation that supposedly happened out there, and I won't put supposedly, I don't want to be told wrong, and them blaming Russia when it was probably America doing it to its own people. When they have the right to claim that things of weird natures happen to them, what happens to the rest of the people in America that's really having this happen, that's not mentally disabled, or, you know, not having it because they're disabled or have a disorientation or disability, the rights to claim to it without being scolded, crucified, and thrown out the front door of being psychotic and crazy, and being able to have ground standing stuff and be treated the right way when speaking of such incidences. Anyways, just rambling on. Uploading this video in a second, and that'll be the end of that. Hey, what's up, dude? Sorry, that's the black attitude that's also working, but like I said, it's not just the blacks, even though they're trying to dominate with the mindset that, hey, this is the way you think. Look, dipshit, I've done talk to too many people to understand how things work, social works and everything else, while you're blocking, hindering, and intentionally trying to basically brainwash me, which was also talked about. I would like to have said brainwash. I was afraid to say it until it came out of the word and the mouth of the authoritative figures that I was talking to. So, when that happens, that alleviated a lot of pressure on my shoulders and weight of being able to actually talk about something legitimately and having someone legitimately be able to understand, to be supportive in reality without bluffing a situation. But anyways, but yeah, they're still taking turns, all the rest, on top of doing whatever mental damage that they want. And oh well, you're damaged now, you need to be locked up for life. The agency I talked to, which I was actually in their custody, they told me that that's illegal as shit for these people to do. Somebody should represent. But there's other agencies in this county that runs through the county that had different problems. Even though somebody's making it, we're all connected. You had one place that did alright, the other place was completely corrupted, is the way I'm going to put it, wrongdoing and all the rest, and allowing other incidents to happen. So, no, it's just not anything good to work with. It's complicated to work with. Anyhow, rambling on about too much stuff. Ending this video. The video is due to electronic interference in the middle of the night. Let's see, Rich Street, Gift Street, Town Street, McDowell Street is one major situation here in Columbus, Ohio. With that situation being said, it does spread, and I've had situations where I've had to get in a vehicle and almost leave the city to get the device to start acting right, which was also understood going back over a certain amount of things. Other witnesses saying that somebody was basically following me, and they understand that these people were following and relayed that back. Being out on the streets, homeless, appearing in one place, and constantly doing it, somebody else that was there, either homeless or, that was around every day, started understanding these other people would appear and disappear at the same time I would. And their incidence is the same thing here in Columbus, Ohio. People moving in and out of these there's businesses right across the street from me, but it's not the type of business that most people think. They're like industrial, different type of situations. I'll explain that later. But no matter what, for years I would travel through Columbus, Ohio. My family used to live here, and the situations would only erect when I'm here, and they'd immediately cease when I left. The witnesses I had for that, a lot of the people turned eldered, passed away. Some of those elder people would not speak out due to intimidation themselves of having someone harm them because they gave me some type of foundation, power, support for even doing anything. And some of that isn't even just directed personally at myself for helping just me, but even out speaking in the community like they want to own and control it. I explained this to these authoritative figures way in the past of this is what's going on, and I guarantee in the future it's going to be found out exactly just that. And that's what these people are trying to turn the situation into. While I'm saying I'm being attacked and somebody saying there's no proof, at least note this, that I said this prior to it happening, especially with life-threatening incidences. These people also like playing the power that they have access to all of my paperwork and records. Well, if that's the case, then where the hell is your profiling that I told these other people, except for I did ask hardcore, as hard as it can be, to be kept confidential. So, who knows, maybe somebody really did do their job, and some of the leaking, or the major part of the leaking, and that incident didn't happen. It's a test for these other mouthy, punk, corrupt, rotten-ass people to go show their we're better than you type of situation. You're really not. Somebody pulls a piece of paper out, slaps you with it, that's legalized as crap, and understands what are you running your mouth about. He said this 7 years ago, and that it was developing, and 7 years later, with probably a good track of detectives, they'd figure out the network that I said was being built itself. Anyways, ending this video, like I said, I'm pressing stop myself. I say that at the end of all of my videos, or try to, for the fact it lets me record and know that I stopped the video. There is no electronic interference, because there is a lot of that. That way I can keep note on what videos was electronically interfered with, as far as stopping itself and all the rest, or if the device disabled itself, was jammed up. The raw footage usually sticks behind, and I can tell what date, time, if I go back over the videos, of when things happened, because I usually date and time my videos. Started that 6 years ago. Every video sometime in the video, and then I just started doing it right away, date and time. Ending this, uploading it to YouTube, and that's that. You can tell, even though I wish I could show the TV, the graininess and stuff, you know, I'm not giving nothing an excuse. Not when every device, even the electric box, the furnace, the thermostat, air conditioners, refrigerators, washing machines, all of that stuff has had problems, and having problems all at the same time type of situation. On top of knowing back in the past oscillators being utilized, and it being proven that there is jamming, interfering technology that was around me, and more than likely me being the target of it. But going back to that phrase, I am pressing stop on this video. Have a good day. Peace.